Mr. Handy, there's another facet to it that I'd like to go back to a bit. It has to do with the days of your creative writing, when you collaborated on the production and the writing of a couple of plays for the legitimate theater. And I think you worked in hand with J.P. McAvoy, wasn't it?
On one of them, yes. And that was on one called the Comic Supplement. It was a failure. It was a predecessor of Little Abner, shall we say, from that standpoint. I also worked on made some contribution to the Fourth Estate and the Little Brother of the Rich, which were by Joseph Medill Patterson. I've always been interested in the drama. As we mentioned, I was thrown out of school because of my enthusiasm for the drama, and one of the jobs I had was as a critic. But for some time, I edited the dramatic supplement of the Chicago Tribune, which we syndicated. So in that connection, had the opportunity to interview and ask their reasons for success of some of the leading showmen of that time, such as George Cohan, Barnum, whom I knew previously as a child, had gone. He was a Philadelphian, as you know, the circus manager. But Schubert and Ziegfeld, I had an opportunity to ask each of those men my leading question that I found so productive when I was 7 or 8 years old of what is the reason for your success, and what were your experiences before you became so successful?
Most interesting, and that's why we're so gratified to hear some of yours today, Mr. Handy. Your background has included a rich spiritual experience, and it came to my attention some time ago, in fact, that in the offices of the Jam Handy organization on the boulevard and elsewhere, when a caller there, salesman or whatever he is there to attend to, is awaiting his appointment, there is, in addition to up-to-date periodicals, the Holy Bible.
Yes, we didn't originate that practice, and I think we have to respect and pay tribute to what the Gideons have done in that. But we believe in putting the hay where the horse can reach it, if it has nutriment in it. So we make the Bible available as well as current publication, so that anybody who is interested in an instruction book of that character that may have the answers to some of the problems of life, help people to get along a little bit better, it's available to them.
Well, I'm sure that it has given you inspiration because of something that I read from your own pen, when you mentioned that one of the earliest inspiration for audio and visual education was propounded by Jesus himself.
Well, I've tried to learn from other people, and I steal neglected ideas and help promote them. Our ideas are nearly all ideas for helping other people get their good ideas across. Jesus made motion pictures. I speak in reverence, even though I speak figuratively, as he usually did. He made motion pictures in people's minds. He talked in terms of images. He used the familiar language. We're told that he spoke in the Aramaic and not in the Hebrew. And always in terms of things that people could visualize. The parables, of course, are outstanding. He also used exhibits consistently. We know how he held up the coin. We know how he used the child and brought him in to illustrate, to show what he was talking about, but always talking in terms of something which could make a picture in the mind. I say always, maybe I shouldn't say that, but familiar. And seemed to be rather effective. There are those of us who would like to see the golden rule adopted more widely than it's adopted, including more definitely than it may be, I mean no disrespect, utilized by you and by me.
But Mr.
in
Handy,
spite of that, there's been a lot of progress, and it's been the most successful, I shan't call it organization, but the most successful doctrine, I'd say, in the history of the world.
yes, in your own writings, I have learned that you feel that there is great place in industry and business and so forth for the application of the golden rule.
That's right. That particularly we can make a little more progress in at least improving the techniques of not kicking the customer in the face or kicking him in the behind after he's gone, if you pardon me in delicate expression.
You will. Mr. Handy, we were talking in some generalities about the films that you prepared for the armed forces. I'm wondering if presently the Jam Handy organization is continuing to do any work for the services.
Yes, of course, it's no longer the 97% that it was during the war, but we are continuing to make instructional materials and patterns for procedures for new types of planes, and also some instruction materials on missiles and basic information, educationally presented, audio-visually presented, on the technical sciences underlying modern warfare or defense, should we say.
You know, we're going back a bit, but on the same subject. In World War I, the then Secretary of the Interior, Franklin Lake, I believe. Lane.
Franklin Lane.
Was responsible for, I think, persuading you to accept a $1-a-year man appointment of great use to the government in the subject or on the subject of the then illiteracy situation and its relationship to the importance of our pursuing World War II.
Yes, it was a tough situation we had, and the situation was was almost as bad, or half as bad, should we say, during World War II. We had a problem of teaching numbers of new skills in the critical trades to a large number of people who weren't able to understand words in the language. In fact, the draft army in World War I, was so illiterate, 24 7/10% of the draftees couldn't pass the literacy test. And those tests were the ability to write a letter home and read a letter from home, or read the headlines on the newspaper. They couldn't pass. And those people we had to train not only in the arts of war, but in the production of war materials. And it was mechanical war. We were already into machine guns, depth bombs, and torpedoes, mechanical devices. We had a language problem from a foreign language standpoint also, a sort of a Tower of Babel we were building. We referred to America as a melting pot, but there wasn't much melting here. In Detroit, I think at that time we had 3 or 4 foreign language newspapers, and we had 11 of them in Chicago.
How many different languages do you suppose were spoken in those days in a
I did a
cosmopolitan
story
center
on
like
it
that?
for the Chicago Tribune.
Is that so?
Wrote one. And I discovered 118 dialects that were spoken which couldn't be understood by others. A number of them were different Chinese. There was any number of those things. All the different types of French. You see, we didn't have much travel. We didn't have radio. We didn't have television. We didn't have much reading, and so people couldn't understand each other's languages. They couldn't read the safety instructions, let alone the instructions how to use the machines or protect them from abuse.
Yes. What were some of the devices that helped you accomplish their orientation, Mr. Handy?
Pictures in the form of posters